us to the last item for the South Central Coast District today. And if we could bring up the PowerPoint presentation for this. This one does have a little bit more of a story, so I'm going to take a few moments to just walk through that. This item 18A is the substantial issue and de novo action hearing for an appeal of a City of Malibu coastal development permit for renovation and replacement of campus classrooms and buildings in approximately the same footprint location, replacement of the existing wastewater treatment system, new unlit sports courts and other outdoor campus improvements, construction of a new 150-space parking lot with night lighting, and renovation and replacement of the lighting of 2 other existing parking lots on the Malibu High School campus. As can be seen on this slide, the campus is located within a built-out residential area of Malibu. The campus itself is surrounded on all sides by residential development that consists of single-family residential homes. On slide 2, you can see the campus itself. That blue line on the western side is a stream, which is considered environmentally sensitive habitat by the applicant's consultants and by the City of Malibu. In this case, the project was appealed by several of the neighboring property owners, known as the Malibu Community Alliance. The appeal contends that the approved project is inconsistent with the policies of the city's LCP in regards to environmentally sensitive habitat areas, and that there are preferred alternatives that would be less environmentally damaging. The appeal also contends the project would be inconsistent, as originally approved, with the scenic and visual resource protection policies of the LCP. The component of the project that the appellants are primarily concerned with here is the new 150-space parking lot, which, if you can see on this slide, is the oval on the right side. There are 3 parking lots. The parking lot on the left is existing. The bottommost parking lot is also existing. So the only new lot will be that new 150-space parking lot, which is located immediately adjacent to the football field. Now, if this project site looks familiar to some of the commissioners, that's because this same high school was the subject of an LCP amendment and previous amendment application to a coastal development permit for lighting of that football field itself. That was a controversial issue, and many of the appellants of this item were the same folks who were involved in that application as well. The commission did approve those items with a very, let's say, sensitive night lighting plan and a schedule that limited the number of lights that the field could be lit. The city, in this case, for these parking lots, the city did require conditions of approval which provided that the applicant develop a lighting plan for this project that would utilize International Dark Skies Association compliant lighting and minimize impacts to surrounding viewing and habitat areas from lighting to the extent feasible. However, the conditions that the city required lacked adequate specificity to show how such improvements would actually be carried out, and they allowed for approval of the plans at a later date at the discretion of the planning director. Thus, the appeal does raise a substantial question regarding whether the originally approved lighting plan, which had not yet been prepared at the time the city made its decision, would have been adequate to ensure that the adverse impacts to the surrounding sensitive habitat areas and public scenic views would actually be minimized. So I would also like to note at this time that following that appeal, commission staff met with the applicant, the appellant, and the city staff several times to discuss the issues raised by that appeal and discuss potential resolution. And all sides, including the school district and the appellants, have worked together to find a collaborative solution involving the preparation of a new lighting plan, which the appellants are now in agreement with some additional operational restrictions which would be incorporated into the plan pursuant to the special conditions of the de novo permit. As such, staff is recommending that the commission determine that substantial issue is raised regarding the approved development's consistency with the scenic and habitat protection provisions of the city's certified LCP. So unless 3 or more commissioners wish to hear additional arguments and vote on the substantial issue question, a substantial issue is deemed to exist, and I will move on to the de novo discussion.
Would 3 or more commissioners like to discuss substantial issue? Seeing no hands go up, I'm going to suggest we find a substantial issue and take this up as a de novo. Please carry on.
In regard to the Commission's review of the de novo portion of this action, the coastal development permit, as I have mentioned, I'm happy to say the Commission staff has been able to work with all of the stakeholders in this case and develop what we think is a good win-win solution that meets the needs of all parties while also ensuring consistency with the resource protection policies of the city's LCP. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the staffs of the school district and the city, as well as the appellants, some of whom are here today, for continuing to work with the Commission staff to accomplish this. And of course, this process has not been easy or short. Commission staff initially met with the applicant, the appellants, and city staff back in June 2013 after the appeal was originally filed, and it was agreed at that time that the school district would develop a more specific lighting plan that would adhere to the standards of the International Dark Skies Association's model lighting ordinance. The goal at that time was that when an agreement was reached on that new plan, the applicants would amend the city's CDP through the city's permit process, incorporating those changes, and the appellants would then withdraw their appeal. Now, in the interest of time, I won't go into the lengthy details of these negotiations. I'll just note that they were long and there were some twists and turns, and they continued until this year. When the Commission staff scheduled this appeal originally for the March 2016 hearing. However, before that hearing, the applicant notified staff that they and the appellants had come to a new agreement on the plan and requested that that hearing be postponed to allow the city to process an amendment to its coastal permit to incorporate those changes, which would allow for that appeal to have been withdrawn. But unfortunately, on March 14th, the applicant let us know that the city of Malibu would have been unable to process that amendment quickly enough to avoid impacting the school district's funding for this project. And the applicant then requested that we turn this around and place this de novo action on for the next commission hearing, which we've done in this case, and we were able to quickly turn this around. And part of the reason for that is that this project is being funded by the school district's general local measure bond, approved in 2006. It included a deadline that construction must be started no later than July 13th of this year. Otherwise, the state architect's approval will expire and likely cause cancellation of the campus project. In regard to the revised lighting plan itself, I would just note that staff believes the applicant has developed an innovative solution to the issues raised in that appeal. The plan has been revised to incorporate light fixtures in the parking lots that are sited and designed in compliance with the dark sky model lighting ordinance. Uses lighting zone 1 or LZ1 standard, which is a very restrictive zone and is recommended for rural and low density residential areas such as the subject site. The applicant has made several improvements, reducing the wattage, the color temperature of these lights to further minimize impacts to habitat and views. And as shown on this slide, the applicant has divided the new proposed 150 space parking lot into 3 different zones that would have different lighting restrictions. And these different areas would be closed off and lighting turned off in a phased approach whenever this parking lot was used. The hours of operation would be limited to a tiered set of restrictions. Area 1, the southernmost portion of the lot, down here at the bottom. That area would be lit nightly until 10 p.m., while Area 2 in the middle could only be lit until 8 p.m., and Area 3 would only be lit on a limited number of nights, and on most other nights would be left dark. And in all cases, the lights would be controlled by motion sensors that would turn off after 15 minutes, even on the nights that it was in use. So in conclusion, staff is recommending approval of the project with the special conditions, including several of which that are necessary to ensure that the agreements that have been worked out are fully implemented. There is an addendum for the item, making minor changes to the wording of some of those special conditions. And I would just note the staff believes that the project as revised is consistent with the habitat protection and visual resource protection policies of the LCP, and therefore we're recommending approval of the de novo CDP. The applicants have indicated they are in agreement with the staff recommendation and with all the conditions of approval, including as revised in the addendum. And the appellants have indicated that they are also in agreement with the applicant's lighting plan and support the staff recommendation. The motion for approval is on page 5 and on the top of page 6 of your staff reports, and this concludes the staff presentation.
Thank you. Do ex partes, are there any ex partes on this matter? Okay. Seeing none. I do have speaker cards. I'd like to invite the appellant representative up if he'd like to speak. Talk to us about the magic involved in getting everybody to agree. Welcome, Cami.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Cami Winnikoff of the Malibu Community Alliance. Our group has been working with the International Dark Sky Association and has been dedicated to preserving the natural dark skies. I am fully in support of staff recommendations. This has been my first experience with the Coastal Commission, and I want to express my heartfelt thanks, appreciation, gratitude to staff. We started off at odds with the district, and your staff, Jack Ainsworth, Steve Hudson, Denise, Deanna, Barbara, were instrumental in getting the parties together in a resolution. This is a very significant step in the right direction. This resolution would not have been possible without the influence and support of Jack Ainsworth and your staff, and I cannot say enough good things about the work that they did. We'd also like to express our appreciation for the district and their willingness and ability to come to the table and resolve this and provide more environmentally responsible lighting. It's great to be here, united with the district to support staff recommendation. When we became involved in this issue, we found Jim Benya, who has been a phenomenal resource, and we introduced him to the commission. He's been invaluable in preserving the dark sky lighting conditions we hope will be approved today. We also introduced the International Dark Sky Association to the City of Malibu and to Pepperdine University, and have been working towards adopting a model lighting ordinance in Malibu. And the dark sky lighting work that Pepperdine is now doing is very impressive, and we really hope at some point that you can come out and see what they're doing out there. Our organization has been focusing on raising awareness of the importance of dark skies as a coastal resource, and we will continue to work on adopting a model lighting ordinance because there's a lot that can be done along the coast to reduce light pollution and trespass. Paris, France, and New York City have both enacted environmentally protective lighting ordinance, and so we think we can as well. We respectfully urge the Commission to adopt staff's recommendations. These recommendations will go a long way in protecting our natural dark skies. Thank you.
Thank you. Any,
I have one question.
okay, please, yeah, Commissioner McClure.
I just have one question on the lights that are motion sensitive. Are they motion sensitive to make sure that, like, if a coyote goes through there or a mountain lion or something like that?
That's correct.
Okay.
This is probably one of the more sophisticated systems we've ever seen. My understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but these are calibrated so that they're to detect humans. They do not pick up animals. And the whole idea is that there will be a complete shut-off of the system after a certain hour, but during the hours of operation, then these will be triggered by the motion sensors, operate for 15 minutes, then turn off again, and will be operated really by vehicles and humans moving through the area.
We'll go to the next motion then.
I move that the Commission approve Coastal Development Permit Number A4MAL 13030 pursuant to the staff recommendations and recommend a yes vote.
And there's a second?
Second.
And is there any further discussion? And is there any unwillingness for unanimous yes vote? With that, we approve this permit, and I do want to, even though we're moving expeditiously, it's worth taking just a moment to acknowledge that there really are tough and challenging issues that were embedded in this, and I think all of the parties that have been involved deserve a lot of credit for finding that sweet spot, including our staff, so thank you all. Okay,